Hi. We're taping the tape. We're taping the interview. What's your name for the record?
Myra.
Myra what?
Dettelbach.
Myra Dettelbach. And
Yep.
you go to Endicott.
Yep.
And you're a
junior.
Junior. What's the major?
Film.
Film.
Yep.
And I am Joey Shimataro. We're filming this for Good Morning Gloucester, but this is really her project. And the project is you're supposed to interview
Someone on the North Shore.
someone very goofy and awkward looking. But that's how you explained it to me in the beginning. You said you needed to find someone that was awkward looking.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't that what you said?
No.
Oh, I thought this. Okay.
I've never said it. No.
Okay, so anyway, so you wanted to ask me questions?
Yes.
Okay, what are the questions?
Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Joey Shimataro. We're here at my cousin Frank and I are partners with third generation fish and lobster dealers. Now this is just a lobster dock. And I happen to have started CBS Boston's Most Valuable Blog and North Shore Magazine's Best Blog. We win a lot of awards, and I think the reason that we win a lot of awards for Good Morning Gloucester on my blog is because the subject matter in this town, this particular town, Gloucester, Massachusetts, is so diverse and interesting. I'm probably a pretty good blogger, but there's a lot of very good bloggers out there that just don't have the amount of content to draw from that a city like Gloucester, Massachusetts affords them. Like you couldn't do this in a bedroom community and win these awards because you don't have the waterfront and all the layers of texture and you have like big time like liberal, you have very rich, very poor and beautiful coastline and art history here and music scene. So there's like so much stuff going on here, which makes doing the blog really fun. Even though as much time as I put into it, it's not like I don't consider it a job. I consider it like passion.
Yeah, that's great. So
yeah.
How did it get started? How did the blog get started?
It got started back in the old internet days. A lot of people used forums. And there are places that forums are still popular, but I think they're weaning due to the popularity of Facebook and Google circles and stuff. But so there's an online forum called Cape Ann Online, and people would post stuff that's happening locally. And I started a thread called Good Morning Gloucester, and because down on the dock here and have access to the waterfront and the fishermen, I would post pictures from the dock every day. And Gloucester has changed so drastically. Like when I was a kid, like 80% of the people that lived in this town probably worked or had someone directly related to them that worked in the fishing industry. Now that's almost like inverse. Like there's probably like 5% of the people in this town are directly related to someone that works in the fishing industry, but they're still closely associated with it, and so they want to feel like they're part of the waterfront, and I got to bring that to them. So that's how. I'd post a picture a day, and I could see on this forum how much traffic it was getting. That people were really interested in, in seeing what's going on the waterfront. And then at that time, blogging started to pick up some steam. And I said, this is a much better format to chronologicalize, or I don't know the word I'm looking for, but you get the point, that to make this thing that's searchable database that I own rather than some other person that runs the message board.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you choose the name Good Morning Gloucester?
I don't know, from that thread.
Yeah.
And it just kind of made sense because I'm up early every morning, and I do this. I used to do it every day, but like on my way to work, I'd get up at 3:45 a.m. 7 days a week. So I would take early morning dawn picture, and so Good Morning Gloucester kind of made sense.
Yeah, that's great.
Kind of rolls.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you have any experience with blogging before, or it was just you did the forum and then
everything? I've never took an internet class or a web class or a computer class. Right. It was all self-taught. And speaking of that, I think a lot of people are intimidated to get started with a blog or get started with the internet or whatever, and they think that or just even start a website, whatever type of website, and they're intimidated. But you know, when I started, there's every different platform, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, or whether it be WordPress, Blogger, whatever. There are help forums, you know, that are pretty good at. Okay, you know, you're having trouble posting a picture. There's tutorials. I guarantee you, there's a tutorial. YouTube is like the greatest place to find how-to videos on just about anything you'd ever want to do. So you have a question: how to post a YouTube video into WordPress. WordPress is a blogging platform, and it show you. There'll be I guarantee you, there's 10 videos out there that show you, oh, and you're missing one little piece, or one little comma, or one little parentheses or something. And once you learn it once, you just build. So I am super efficient at blogging. I can create a lot of content in not a lot of time. Whereas, but you have to get started somewhere, and especially with like a blogging platform, it's free, and you're not going to break it. So people, I think, a lot of times are intimidated, and they don't get started, or they don't mess around with it a little bit, or learn. But especially when you're starting out in a blog, we pay for hosting now because there's so much content on the blog. I have to pay all these fees and stuff. But 99.99% of people are never going to use the space that a free WordPress or Blogger account will give you. You know.
Yeah. So you mentioned you get up really early. So like, what's a day in the life when do you decide to blog?
I fit it in when I can fit it in, and I try not to blog from home so I can devote the time that I have at home to my kids and stuff. But I get up at 3:45 a.m., shower. I get up that early. I'm here at the dock at 5 a.m. But I don't like to rush. You know what I mean? I think like people that try to like get to split second to be at work on time, you're more frustrated and stressed out by trying. You know, I'd rather have time to enjoy my ride to work and keep your eyes open. And that was a point, like when I started the blog, that I lived in this community, you know, growing up and stuff, and I didn't appreciate the natural beauty of the back shore and everything. I lived basically one street from the back shore. I had to drive past that rocky coastline every day. And I never even appreciated it until I went away to college, and I'm like, oh my God. So like, you know, and then blogging, to create the amount of content that we create on the blog, you have to keep your eyes, it forces you to keep your eyes open for all this cool stuff that's happening around you that like say if you're, you know, like, I don't want to use like it's a bad word, but like if you're like a townie and you're in a rut that you only look at the bad stuff that's happening around, like try to look at it the other way. Look at all the great stuff that's happening around, because when you're creating content for a positive city-based site or something like that, it's all around you, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, to get back, these tangents are terrible. They're terrible. So I get up early. I get up at 3:45, shower, come in. Usually try to take a few photos before I come to work of the sunrise or you know, a nice scene downtown when there's no one down there. The cars aren't all parked down there. And then come into work, do what is necessary to get my lobster boats fishing. My cousin Frank and I, we pass out bait to them, do our paperwork. Then as soon as all those obligations are met, I'll sit down and I'll go over and start to post. And I schedule things in advance because on Good Morning Gloucester we post from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then any breaking news in between there. So and I have contributors that help me. So I schedule 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. and I have other contributors that I can schedule my other ones. And I try to have a little bit of structure so the readership knows what to expect. Like early morning is like, okay, this is what's coming up in, you know, like community event type of thing. Then community photos, people that submit photos to me. And then I try to have a really, really strong morning post and a really, really strong evening post at the end of the day. So, and the idea of posting every hour on the hour is to reward my readership that every time they come back, there's something new and hopefully interesting, so that, like, I think that there's a lot of bloggers out there that they post once a week or what's, and if you go back, if say you have something bookmarked or something, and you go back to it once or twice, and it's the same thing that they saw. In my mind, and I might be anal about this, but like, they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
So we want to give them a reason to come back all the time, and we want to reward if it's something funny, if it's something interesting, even if it's a little bit controversial, but like makes people think about an issue. I feel like it's my job to reward them, or our job. I shouldn't say my job, because I posted a good chunk of the content, but I have other contributors as well.
Oh, that's great. So is it hard to come up with posts sometimes, or content?
It isn't for me, but some of my contributors, it's funny because the first contributor I took on, her name was Sharon Lowe, and I remember her telling me one time, I don't know what I'm gonna, I'm having a hard time, I've come up with a block, I can't figure out what to post. I'm like, really? I'm like in this room right now, right? Yeah. I look around right here. I could construct 1,000 posts just looking around. Like, oh, where did I get that painting? Michaela Shalino made that drawing of a lobster. I can take a picture of that. Shout out to her. Thank you for that. Yeah. The Gloucester map. The topographical map. Okay, who makes those maps? Like, who started making those maps? Are those available for the public? NOAA. I see there's a NOAA stamp on there, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Do they make these for free? Can we get those? Okay. And you have the A-Rod picture back there that I usually frame all my videos of that. Yeah. And then like go around. Like my grandfather's pictures right there with his fishing boats. Literally like. So I said to her, I'm like, you walked out of your house this morning. I'm like, was there a little daisy growing in the in the crack on your doorstep? Yeah. That's a blog post. Yeah. So to me, it's not like, and especially in a town like this, with all this other cultural stuff on top of that, I don't have a problem creating content at all. No, I might be gifted that way. I don't know, but I have every phase.